What is happening, everybody? So I thought that today I would take you guys through a typical day of eating for myself. I know a lot of people are always interested in... The dog's going on a crazy one. Gets really excited whenever the camera comes on, so you may hear a lot of background noise. Crazy dog. So I thought I'd take you guys through a typical day of how I tend to eat. So it's a Friday, so I eat a little bit differently maybe on a Friday for a few reasons. It is currently 12:15. I haven't eaten yet. I normally tend to eat later in the days because I'm really busy in the morning. I get up super early. I'm in the gym normally by 6 AM training clients. So no. He thinks that I'm playing with him because whenever I talk to the camera he gets so confused. He thinks I'm talking to him. So yeah, I tend to not really eat breakfast, and my first meal normally comes later in the day when I get home from work. So today what I've got first of all is this. So I've got a couple of burgers and then a pot which is roughly around about a handful of blueberries. So what I tend to try and do when I'm being really good with my diet, and today I'm being really good, is kind of cycle my carbohydrates. So eat them around workouts or reduce them from a diet to cover myself for later in the day. So because today is a Friday, there's a 99, actually probably a strong 100% chance that I'm going to be having some kind of chocolate or something this evening. And that normally is a dairy milk whole nut bar with a cup of tea. Absolutely lovely. Sometimes a family size one. So what I personally do is I like to reduce the carbohydrates throughout the day, which is basically removing calories, so that I can then have that chocolate bar later on and it kind of fits in with my daily calories. And then every other day, typically, I normally don't eat till midday pretty much every day, like I said, because of getting home from work at midday. And that's normally when I tend to eat my first meal. And it normally is something like the burgers, normally doesn't contain carbohydrates, and it's always got some sort of berry or something green like spinach or kale or something with it. So that is meal one. That is my reasoning behind it, and then I'm going to take you through the rest of the day and what I eat, particularly on a Friday. So today might look a bit different to normal days, so I will do more of these to give you guys an idea, and I will explain exactly why I do everything that I do. Okay, so just got back from an hour and a half dog walk, and I'm going to have a snack. It's going to be a high protein snack. So one of the key things, and this is where I think a lot of people go wrong, is they don't incorporate enough protein in their diet. Protein takes a lot longer for your body to digest, so it keeps you feeling fuller for longer. And I don't think it's through fault of their own. I think some people just don't know how much protein to eat. Some people just don't know what things contain protein. So here's a high protein snack. This is also something that is pretty good as a dessert as well, if you have a bit of a sweet tooth but you want to try and stay on track with your food. So bowl of low-fat Greek yogurt. So this one here is Sainsbury's ones, fat-free authentic Greek yogurt. So another more popular Another more popular brand is Phage Total Yogurt, but it's a little bit more expensive. Most supermarkets do their own version of it as well now. So fat-free, I have half of the tub of that, so it's about 250 grams. And in 250 grams, so 100 grams is 9.9 grams of protein. So that's pretty high in protein for 250 grams. I'm going to put a scoop of chocolate whey protein by My Protein. So chocolate smooth. I'm going to put a scoop of that in there. One scoop. And then basically stir it all together until the protein is mixed in and it becomes like a chocolatey mousse. And all together there's probably about 50 grams of protein in there, which is pretty high amount of protein as a good snack. And it's probably only about, I think scoop of protein's 90 calories. That yogurt's about 120 calories, so there's probably about 210 calories in that. But what it's going to do is that's going to fill me up until I have dinner, definitely, because of the high protein content. And it also makes a pretty good dessert. So far today, I've had the 2 burgers, the blueberries, and then I'm having this as a snack. And what I also forgot to mention was this morning, even though I didn't eat till midday, I had a Starbucks large latte before that to tie me over. So I always have a coffee in the morning. So I had a Starbucks large latte, and actually because of the amount of milk in there, I think they're probably around about 200 calories. So that's something to be aware of if you're having coffees and stuff, particularly if you're drinking things like a latte and you're going to go for a large. Be mindful that there's probably a good 200 calories in that coffee because of the amount of milk that's used. So far that is what I've had today. Gonna go and eat this yogurt, and then I'll be back at you with what I'm gonna have next. Okay, so shut the squeaky door. So last meal of the day before the good stuff happens. So not a lot's happened since the last meal. Went out, picked Arthur up from school, and actually took him for a McDonald's, and I didn't get one myself. Sometimes I get one myself, but actually today I didn't bother getting one. And I just got a Diet Coke because there is nothing nicer than the Diet Coke from McDonald's. But there's no calories in that. So, last meal of the day, super simple because actually I had to go back to the gym, train a couple of clients and got home a bit late, tired. Put Arthur to bed because I don't normally get a chance to do that during the week. So I put him to bed. And now I'm tired. Was planning on making burritos, but can't really be bothered. So I've done scrambled eggs with spinach and half an avocado. So scrambled eggs, spinach in the pan, bang, little bit of butter to fry it in, half an avocado, little bit of salt on top. Super quick, super simple. So high in protein, pretty high in fat. And then what we're going to do is we're going to sit down, I'm going to have a cup of tea after that, and I'm going to nail this bad boy. That's right, family size dairy milk. And to be honest, I probably will eat all of it, not going to lie. But one of the things that I think people make a mistake with is they look at their food and they only think about the next meal. So they think, right, this is what I'm going to have for breakfast, this is what I fancy for breakfast. And then they get on with their day, and then lunchtime comes along and they think, right, this is what I'm going to have for lunch, this is what I fancy for lunch, etc, etc. Instead of looking at the day as a whole, if you look at your day as a whole, so like I knew this morning, it's a Friday, the end of the week, I am working tomorrow, but the end of the week, and I feel like, I know that for a fact that I'm going to want some sort of treat in the evening, relax, kids are in bed, film on, Friday night, lovely, on the sofa. And I know that from this morning. So the reason I've altered my day the way I have and kept carbohydrates out, for example, is to save the calories, because I know that tonight I'm going to be having this. And if I know that from breakfast time, so this is what I mean by looking at the day ahead and thinking about what you're going to be having all day, or are you going to be going out for a meal? Are you going to be having a few drinks tonight? Is there something happening at some point during the day? Are you going out for lunch? If you know all of that in advance, then you can plan the rest of your meals and think of each meal and think, right, well, if I'm going to be having a dairy milk bar tonight, which I know I am going to be, then I don't really need to have that chocolate bar with lunch because I know I'm still going to have something tonight. Or I'm going to take the carbohydrates out of breakfast. Instead of having scrambled egg on toast, I'm just going to have the scrambled egg without the toast because I'm going to save the calories for later on tonight when I have the dairy milk. So it's give and take, and I think if you look at your day as a whole, then you can better plan your diet. And for example, I didn't train today either, so I don't necessarily need as many carbohydrates, don't necessarily need as much energy because I haven't been training. Maybe if I'd have trained as well, then maybe I would have added a bit more food in throughout the day to provide energy for that. But that's another thing. People have too many carbohydrates on days when they're not really doing much. So carb cycling I think works really well. So for example, on a day where you're just going to be in the office for 8 hours and then around that you're not really doing much else, then you don't need a huge amount of carbohydrates, you don't need a huge amount of energy. So you could reduce them down in your diet that day. But on a day when you're going to be training and maybe you're going to be doing a lot of walking, a lot of moving, then you can get away with eating more carbohydrates that day because you're going to use that energy and you're going to refill your energy stores after the workout. And what you're essentially doing as well is you're cycling your calories from day to day. So on the lower days, you're eating less calories. On the days where you're moving and exercising, you're eating slightly higher calories. But the chances are it's going to be very good for someone that's trying to lose weight, but also maintain weight. Because it's not all about losing weight all the time, it's also about maintaining the weight. Actually, that's the thing most people struggle with. Most people are very good at losing weight. They can lose a stone, but then they struggle to maintain that. And that's where, you know, things like carbohydrate cycling and stuff, and thinking and planning about the day ahead, thinking ahead of what you've got going on that day and making better decisions based upon that. Now, I haven't felt like I've restricted myself today because I know that tonight I'm going to be eating this. And that is how you figure out, I suppose, how to make it more of a lifestyle and how to maintain weight and how to make things work. So anyway, that is a day of eating for me, typically on a Friday, which may be a little bit different to most other days. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come back at you guys with a day of eating on maybe a training day and then show you how I would eat if I'm going out to eat, etc. But there's definitely going to be more of this type of stuff. So hopefully you have found some good information, you've learnt a little bit. If you have any questions, comment on the video and I'll be happy to answer them. But in the meantime, I'm going to eat that before it gets cold, and then I'm going to sit down and I'm going to scoff that, and I will see you guys in the next one.